Welcome to round number 2 of the CASCAR Super Series. 25 of Canada's best drivers have come to Quebec to challenge this flat but very fast 0.4 of a mile oval track. If you can dodge the traffic and the trouble, you might find yourself in victory lane.
The Super Series returns to Autodrome St-Eustache. The roar of the CASCAR motors takes over the night air here in Montreal's top racing facility. The road to the CASCAR Championship started in Delaware, where the Mopar Charger of Ron Beauchamp made its long journey back to the winner's circle. Tonight, the 0.4 of a mile oval here at St-Eustache will determine who sits on top of the championship points at night 10. We're in La Belle Province for round number 2 of the 2005 CASCAR Super Series as Autodrome St-Eustache plays host to the Whelen 200. Hello and welcome. I'm Ron St. Clair along with Billy Rose Jr. and Todd Lewis trackside, and we're just north of the beautiful city of Montreal. Billy, this is one tricky little 0.4 of a mile track.
Well, she's a fast little place, but you know what? It's flat, and the entrance to turn 3 is very narrow and very tricky. Just enough room for 2 race cars coming into that corner. Guys like Kennington and Whitlock, along with Andre Courcelle, will have a big advantage here tonight as they've all won here and logged lots of laps.
Well, as we have a look here at the Castro point standings, Ron Beauchamp Jr. out there with a 6-point lead over David Whitlock, followed closely by defending champion Don Thompson and Mark Dilley. And their own Todd Lewis is standing by in the pit area with this year's early points leader.
That's right, Ron Beauchamp Jr., a dominant victory in the opening event of the season. What are you looking for here tonight?
We're looking for another day that we had last week. We're going to open up another can of whoop ass like we did last week in Delaware, and hopefully have the same turnout we did.
That's a pretty confident driver right here. Okay, now you have had success at this track too.
Yeah, we had a win here, one of our first wins here back in '98, and we have a really good car going, so we're hoping for another good run.
All right, Ron Beauchamp Jr. hoping for his second victory to start the 2005 season. First points of the night were up for grabs during qualifying, and earlier today it was a record-setting day for 9 drivers who were under the track time. The number 1 driver, though, Peter Gibbons, in the number 1 Canadian Tire car from Stouffville, Ontario, turns in a time of 17.767 seconds and a little over 81 miles per hour. Now, Peter, it's been a long time since you've been on pole for an event, but you were a winner in that event at the Canada Day Shootout a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we've had good race cars. This is a brand new car for us that we built ourselves this year, and the Canadian Tire team has just been pulling together and working hard here all winter and, you know, getting stuff. We had a little slow start and a problem at the first race, but we overcome that, and we should be in good shape.
All right, Pete Gibbons in the Canadian Tire car set to lead them into corner number 1. We're ready for 200 laps of racing. When we return, we'll get the command to start engines and the green flag in the Whelen 200.
The Whelen 200 from St-Eustache is brought to you by Castro GTX, maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdowns. By Mopar, authentic performance. And by Power Water, distilled oxygenated water. Well, here tonight from Whelen, Canada is Malcolm Leslie, and he has those famous words.
Pete Gibbons will lead them into turn number 1 for 200 laps of racing here at St-Eustache. Pete told me just before getting into the car he has not been feeling well for a week. He's been laying down, resting in the trailer most of the day. Alongside on row number 1, the man we're used to seeing on pole, Don Thompson Jr. He's looking for an opening to get in. Dave Whitlock had a strong showing in the first event of the season, the Mopar 250. He's looking for another great outing. DJ Kennington has had great success here at St-Eustache. He had a terrible outing in the first event of the season. The new CASCAR Ironman is looking to get his season back on track.
All right, thanks, Todd. And the Kenningtons have been doubly busy. They've also prepared the Carhartt Clothing number 8 machine for Mark Miller of Holland, Michigan.
Well, Ron, this could be Mark Miller's best opportunity. Limited schedule in CASCAR up till this point, but this car here is Scooby. It's won here at this racetrack. He's in one of the best prepared cars here tonight at St-Eustache.
And just had a look at Don Thompson Jr. as the field pulls away here and gets set for 200 laps around this very tough track. Here's the Atto starting grid. It's an all Chevrolet front row, Gibbons and Thompson, and then an all Dodge row. Here's David Whitlock and DJ Kennington. Back to row number 3, surprisingly enough, this will be an all Ford row, Kerry Mix and Dave Jacobs. Now back to position number 7 here. It's Mark Dilley. Brand new Dodge Power Water machine for him this year. Pete Shepard, last year's Rookie of the Year in the Atto Dodge. Back to row 5, the points leader, Ron Beauchamp Jr. and John Fitzpatrick in the Chevrolet. Row number 6, Brad Graham. He's had success here. Last time in, he was pole sitter. Brian Cathcart back full-time on the circuit this year. Sean Stafford makes his first visit here. So does Ron Van Ness in row number 7. Then Mark Miller. We talked a little bit about that machine. Stu Robinson Jr. in the Snap-on Tools Dodge alongside him. Back to row number 9, Jimmy Lapsevich. Andre Corsell, local favorite here in that CarQuest Chevrolet. Row number 10, Kenny Forth and Chad McGlynn. A couple of guys who will have a lot to learn here at this track. It's tough. J.R. Fitzpatrick, runner-up in the Rookie of the Year. Scott Steckley, he's had a podium finish here in Montreal. And row number 12, Doug Brown trying to recoup after a tough start at Delaware. Jeff Lapsevich alongside him, car number 23. And one of the early contenders for Rookie of the Year, Tara McLeod, back of the pack.
Well, Ron, we'll take a look at the Challenger Motor Freight race analysis. 25 cars here tonight on this fast 0.4 of a mile flat oval, 200 laps, 80 miles. Hey, and the weather's clear at 24 degrees.
And they always pack them in here as well, so we know we've got lots of fan support here in Montreal. Here's a look at some of the onboard cameras. Scott Steckley, the Herb Group Pontiac. Ron Beauchamp Jr., of course, won at Delaware. Well, I'm sure we'll get lots of good shots from him. DJ Kennington, boy, 3 times in a row on the podium here in Montreal. Kerry Mix in the Power Water Tours. And he'll be very aggressive on this short track. David Whitlock, always tough, always up front. He'll provide some good shots as well. And, of course, Don Thompson Jr., the 4-time reigning CASCAR champion. All right, we're set to bring him up to green. Pete Gibbons. And here is Luann Leslie with the green flag as we are rolling in the Whelen 200 in Montreal.
Oh, contact into turn 1. Gibbons and Thompson both fighting for the same piece of real estate, hustling down the backstretch side by side to a very narrow turn 3.
Now this is one place, unless you've got a pretty stout car, Billy, you do not want to get stuck on the outside early in this race.
Oh, caution already, cars around. Van Ness damage on the left front.
Wow, didn't take long. And there's local favorite Andre Corsell. Boy, that's a tough break. We saw some front end damage here to the 11 car of Van Ness. Still no idea what happened here. These cars come out of the mid-pack. Look at the Mopar replay.
Well, as I said earlier, Ronnie, turn 3 is very narrow, and those two guys got together on the entrance of turn 3, both fighting for the same piece of real estate. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Ron Van Ness brings the car along pit row. The crew immediately goes to work to have a look at that body damage on the left front of that collision. Talking to Ron Van Ness earlier today, he was excited about running the entire Super Series schedule. And yeah, it's always tough the first time you come to St-Eustache, and he's finding that out firsthand, guys.
Well, lots of action here on pit road. Van Ness came off the 7th row there. So again, he was mid-pack. Looks like everyone checked up, and look at this. Tough break here for Andre Corsell. He is going to have to park that car for the night by the looks of things. He'll head right in behind the wall and into the pit area. And as they regroup, Billy, it's our new feature this year, the Inside Track CASCAR trivia question for you. Which active CASCAR driver has the most starts without a win on the tour?
Well, Ronnie, I got the answer, but I'm going to save it for the barbecue later.
All right. Pete Gibbons brings him up to green here. And boy, how could we ever forget that big win he had back here in 2001. He was involved in a wreck right about here, and that car was heavily damaged, but he powered around the field to pick up a victory that year. Needs another one, though. He'd like to get back on the winning way here.
Well, Peter Gibbons is one tough competitor. That car in that last victory you're talking about had the whole one side tore right out of it, but that didn't deter Peter Gibbons from working all night long to get back to the front.
Good look at DJ Kennington again, maybe one of the hot shoes here at St-Eustache. Not only did he run here on the series, but he's had some sportsman races over the years as well, so certainly knows his way around this track. And there's the Dodge of Brad Graham, last year's sportsman champion. Right behind him, Brian Cathcart driving there for Billy Burns, the crew chief. And this battle just outside the top 10 for 11th spot. Up front, still the 2 Chevrolets. Thompson running second behind Gibbons.
You're all around.
Oh, you hear that spotter on the radio helping his driver, telling him clear all around. But that Chevrolet of Donnie Thompson just looks a little quicker through the middle of the corner, Ron. Right about there. See where he picks it up and he turns the corner and he gets the position on Gibbons down the backstretch. But Peter's horsepower saves him there, Ronnie.
Yeah, short straightaways, no banking. Pretty tough to hook it up on that little short straight on the inside, but Thompson will wait for his brakes as he checks out that rearview mirror. Keeps an eye on David Whitlock out there challenging him as well.
That's a great shot, watching Donnie's hands in the wheel. Quick little glance in the mirror to see where Witt is, and down the straightaway and off into the corner.
Chevrolet's looking pretty good so far here in the early going. There's Whitlock right on the rear deck again. Little tap there by Don Thompson Jr. Back to the line here in the early going. Pretty much single file formation. They bunched up a little bit back in the pack, but up front here, single file. And patience probably the name of the game in the early going here, Billy.
Well, I'll tell you what, after Delaware, there wasn't a lot of patience with all the cautions we had there, but This little tight racetrack, you got to be patient, but you also got to move when you can. One of these guys is going to get moved up out of the groove, and you're going to see 4 or 5 guys go through the hole.
I like Donnie Thompson's way around there. He went wide into turn number 1 and tried that crossover move to the inside coming off a 2. And he did grab a little bit of space there on the inside of Gibbons. But again, he's working the outside groove there, just powering around here in the Canadian Tire Chevrolet.
While you keep an eye on that car of Peter Gibbons, you can see the soft springs and the big sway bar. That car lays right over on the right rear, gets that left front hike in the air, and there's a pass for lead. Donnie Thompson finally moves him up out of the way. And what did I tell you, Ronnie? You get up in the high groove, and you're going to lose a couple spots as Whitlock follows him through.
All right, so a change for the lead here in the early going, and there's the onboard look out the rear of David Whitlock's machine. Back to 3rd place, Pete Gibbons. Boy, you blink and you're back about 3 spots in a real hurry here.
Yeah, we called it quick. You know, you get in the outside groove, and away you go. Cars are still on a full load of fuel, reasonably cold tires, but they're still good tires. These Goodyears stick really good, and going the long run, should be able to get 100 laps on these tires in this tight little bull ring.
All right, good battle here for position. And here we see John Fitzpatrick now moving that Chevrolet to the inside of Ron Beauchamp Jr., the winner of the Mopar 250 in our last show. And he'll complete the pass here up on the front straightaway.
Well, John Fitzpatrick just put a power move on Ron Beauchamp Jr. down the front stretch there. Down to the bottom, he's going to get inside Ron Venice's lap car, off into turn 3. Very narrow turn 3, Ron. Got to be careful there with lap cars.
Back up front again. Here's another challenge as Whitlock looks to the inside using lap traffic. And he's going to the bottom side. Thompson to the top side. And down in turn number 3, Thompson will hold on, or will he? Here comes Whitlock back on the inside again.
Oh, that Dodge horsepower up the inside. Witt's going to lean on him in the corner. Drives down in a little deeper. Door handle to door handle, turn 1 up off of turn 2. Gets narrow going into turn 3. There's Whitlock's horsepower. Going to prevail.
Pretty clean racing, though. They're door to door. I don't even think they touched down there in the corner. Now Thompson will relinquish the spot, and Whitlock becomes the new race leader, taking his Dodge to the front.
Oh, Thompson taking another peek. Pair of champions going at it hard here early on.
The car length lead now as they work down into turn number 3. And now we get a look at Mark Dilley as he begins to make his move here in that number 9 Dodge. Factory sponsored ride, and David Jacobs right there, number 88 machine. Lou's Barbecue again on board with him this year. Last year's top rookie, Pete Shepard in the Auto Dodge. He'll work by the 18 there, Chad McGlynn. Good to see him out. He toiled a lot at Delaware and Sportsman. Now he's up there in the Ultimate Garage Ford Taurus in the series, trying to make a go of it.
Hey, Kerry Mix looking pretty racy there right now. Peter Gibbons just idle along there, biding his time. Got to remember, Peter Gibbons isn't feeling well. This is a brand new oval car for him, so a couple bugs to work out, the car and Peter.
On board here in the Power Water Taurus of Kerry Mix, of course, the original Ironman in CASCAR. Boy, what a lot of starts he's had. This is race number 173 for him. Tops amongst all CASCAR drivers. 3 lead changes here. We're only 25 laps into this 200-lap Whelen 200 at St-Eustache. Looks like Mix will get him.
On your outside, clear all around. Nice move. You're going after Thompson.
Well, that's Susan Mix on the radio, keeping her husband safe and clear. Got to have a good spotter, especially here in the bull ring. There's Scott Steckley getting underneath the 10 of Brown. That is for 16th, Ron.
Yeah, pretty good battle going on there. The Metro St. Laurent International Pontiac, number 22 of Scott Steckley. Problems here on the front straightaway. We've got a caution flag out as the youngster Pete Shepard Jr. has problems here in the Auto Dodge.
Well, that Dodge Charger's all tore up, Ron. Got the left front fender chewed up. The hood's all bowed up the middle. I have no idea what happened. Obviously had something to do with John Fitzpatrick by that retaliation.
Yeah, a little tap. Here's a look at the Mopar replay as they work off the corner. And we should see, oh, there it is, right up front.
Oh, right up over the top, Ronnie. It looks like Fitzpatrick was digging on the bottom, trying to nerf him up out of the way, spun him up in front of him, and then drove right over top of that Dodge Charger.
Lots of commotion again on pit road. We're under caution here at the Whelen 200 at St-Eustache, Montreal. Back at St-Eustache, Montreal, the green flag flying again here in the CASCAR Super Series. Lap 34, and race leader number 39, David Whitlock, dealing with some lap traffic now. 37 to Tara McLeod. And they'll work by her on the back straightaway and up into turn 3.
Well, restarts in the most dangerous time. You got all those lap cars lined up on the inside. You got to get clear and get to the bottom to be fast here at St-Eustache.
Three leaders in this race so far. A couple of Chevrolets. Don Thompson running second. Pete Gibbons drifting a little bit back in the Canadian Tire Chevrolet. Way back there to the Power Water Taurus of Kerry Mix now in third. There's Gibbons in fourth. Looks like he might be having some handling problems here in the early going.
Well, the car is just not quite right, Ron, when it won't stay down in the bottom, and then when he's forced to go around the top side of these lap cars, he really has to wait on the throttle to get up off the corner, and that's allowing DJ Kennington and Dave Jacobs to close right up on the back of that number 1 Canadian Tire Monte Carlo.
Well, how about DJ? Second in 01, third in 02, one here in 03. There's Dave Jacobs right behind him. Good battle here. Dodge and Ford duking it out for position inside the top 10.
Well, CASCAR is always good at parity. You see all three of the top makes running really well here at St-Eustache.
And up in turn number 3, working around Terry McLeod. There's the 9 Dodge. Mark Dilley, Ron Beauchamp Jr. right there as well in the Mopar-sponsored Dodge. And then we get a look at another Chevrolet. That's John Fitzpatrick, who apparently was responsible for that last caution.
Well, for what the abuse that car took up over the top of that car of Pete Shepard Jr., he's still running quite well, Ron.
Pretty smooth up front here, though. Look at this. The front 3 have pulled away a little bit here from Gibbons. Got a 3-way shootout now down the back straightaway. And wouldn't you know, it's Dodge, Chevrolet, and Ford. We talked about that parity, and here it is. Don Thompson Jr. trying to find a way around David Whitlock, who's trying to find his 17th victory in CASCAR. He's having a great run. Here's Todd Lewis.
That's right, guys. Dave Whitlock having a pretty nice run in the Avenue NMT Dodge, and just spoke with his crew chief, Warren Jones, a couple of seconds ago, and he said, your night's going pretty well. He says, yeah, it's good to be out front, but there's a long way to go. He said, better to be out front, yes, but I don't like that guy that's behind us. He's giving us a rough time.
Well, they continue to do battle up front there. I don't think he's got to worry about Don Thompson. Donnie's a pretty clean racer. He'll use you up a little bit when he needs to, but other than that, I've never seen him be just outright nasty.
Well, no, just once, I remember right here at this track, but that's he needed the spot, apparently, I guess. That was a couple of years ago.
Oh, Fitzpatrick with some contact down the front stretch with Lapsevich.
I think he needed that spot right there as well. The young 17-year-old J.R. Fitzpatrick there in the 84 machine. Falls in behind Stu Robinson Jr. in the Snap-on Tools Dodge. Only his 8th career start here, actually, in CASCAR, as we look on board with Scott Steckley again.
Listen to Steckley's motor coming up off the corner run. You can hear him pedaling. The car's just not right from the middle on out, and that makes the car very hard to drive, especially here at St-Eustache.
Finished second here in 2003, but still looking for his first win as he runs in behind the 84. Teammate of that guy right there, number 4, Don Thompson Jr. And, of course, the race leader, David Whitlock, in the 39 Avenue NMT Dodge.
Well, there's DJ Kennington in the Castro Dodge getting underneath Peter Gibbons for 4th spot.
Good move there by DJ as he powers towards the front. David Whitlock going by more traffic, followed by Thompson, then the 02 of Kerry Mix. 153 laps to go. Only the second time ever here in Montreal that we've had a 200. Now, we did have a 200 format earlier, several years ago when they ran 250s and then a 100-lap feature, but this is only the second ever 200, and that man, number 17, won the previous race.
Well, DJ's got a ton of experience here. DJ, that young man right there, won a 500-lap race here last year driving for Mike McCall.
Wow, you'd get dizzy, wouldn't you?
There's a lot of laps here.
On board with Don Thompson Jr. of the Home Hardware Chevrolet. Kerry Mix had a peek to the inside. Thompson keeps him in the rearview mirror, though. Boy, he is so calm, cool, and collected in there. Oh, here comes Mix to the inside.
Well, I've been watching Mixie. He might just be the fastest race car out there right now. He's been able to run these leaders down. Oh, he's got the spot. He's got the preferred line up off of turn 4, down in the bottom, racing hard into turn 1. Going to try and keep Thompson on the outside. There it is.
Yeah, no doubt about it, boy. You get a guy outside here, and if you've got this chassis set up right, you're gone.
Yeah, just like the laundry, you hang them out to dry.
You got her done right there. Say, here comes Beauchamp now. This is a battle for 7th on the inside of Mark Dilley. Between the two, almost 300 career starts, and this veteran, Beauchamp, squeaks through.
There's John Fitzpatrick, the owner of Fitzpatrick Motorsports. He's having a great ride after going up over top of the Dodge earlier on. That car is still on rails.
Yeah, well, he qualified 10th under 18 seconds. 142 to go. Speaking of, we were talking about the setup here. What's the key? You talked a little bit about springs, but is it weight distribution here?
Well, we talk about wedge. That's the percentage of weight the left rear to right front, and you run a ton of stagger. So you got to have the stagger to get the car to turn, then you got to have the wedge to keep the left rear on the ground and the power off the corner.
Well, lots of traffic here for the race leader. They're all checking
caution.
up.
We got one around. It's Steckley. He didn't go all the way around. He just got muscled up a little bit. Stu Robinson Jr. down into turn 3. We have caution on the speedway.
I thought they were going to avoid it, but the caution does come out here, and Steckley right in the middle of that one. Let's have a look here at the Mopar replay as they work on the front straightaway.
Down into turn 1, he's inside Lapsevich. Into the driver's door. Lapsevich loosens the car up and spins him all the way around.
Yeah, he did do the complete 360. I didn't think so initially, but he gets back and rolling again here. So Scott Steckley will stay in the lead lap. And some pit action now.
Well, Steckley to pit road, Ronnie. He's going to get 2 new right side tires for that Pontiac.
Yeah, Pete Gibbons is in as well in the Canadian Tire Chevrolet, giving up track position here. Todd Lewis standing by in that pit area.
Well, the Pete Gibbons team did talk about coming in and making an adjustment for that loose condition, so he's using this caution period to do so. 2 right side tires and an adjustment to help tighten things up for Peter Gibbons in the Canadian Tire Chevy.
Came off the pole. He'll come out somewhere around 20th. We'll check it out when we return to St-Eustache. Back here at St-Eustache, Montreal for the Whelen 200 and the CASCAR Super Series in our 3rd restart. David Whitlock in the Dodge here will take green on lap 69. Right behind him is the Ford of Kerry Mix, the 02 Power Water Taurus, and the Home Hardware Chevrolet of Don Thompson Jr., followed by DJ Kennington in the 17.
Well, the Lou's Barbecue 88 of Dave Jacobs having a great race as well. He's up to 5th position, Ron.
Yeah, another Ford. You know, surprisingly enough, there are 5 in the field here today. It's still primarily Chevrolet, though. They lead with 10, 9 Dodge in there, and the 1 Pontiac. That's Scott Steckley, who was involved in that earlier incident. There's Ford Chevrolet right there, Billy.
Steckley, the only rebel left with a Pontiac.
He's got a good ride, though, no doubt about that. Dodge up front. David Whitlock powers down across the line. Still 129 to go as we sneak up towards the halfway point. I think we just saw Kenny 4th there, I believe it is, coming off the pit road in that 86 car, several laps down. Another one of those Fords we were talking about.
On board with Kerry Mix, the Power Water Ford down the backstretch. He's hunting for a way around Dave Whitlock at this point. Watch his hands. Nice and steady in the wheel. Turn in. Ease back on the steering wheel up off the corner. Bury the throttle and race down the backstretch.
Well, you know, I always like the technical side of things. Have they been able to increase the RPM a little bit this season versus previous years?
Well, the RPM went up 2 or 3 years ago. So did the horsepower, Ron, but the expense went with it. The higher you turn it, the more it costs.
Kerry Mix trying to turn it up a wick here on David Whitlock, right on the rear deck. And it is bumper to bumper here on this 4/10 mile track. Very little, if any, banking at all in the corners. Of course, they use that front straightaway right there for a drag strip. You can see the launching pad. 2 good lanes there for drag racing as well. Front 3, though, here in single file. Power down into turn number 3. Dodge, Ford, and Chevrolet.
There's a take a look at Brian Cathcart in the 71. Jeff Lapsevich in the 23, and there's Stu Robinson in the snap-on number 3.
Yeah, he'll work by on the inside of Jimmy Lapsevich in car number 25, just outside the top 10. There's Pete Gibbons. Now, he came off the pits, out of the pits in 18th spot. Last time we went to break there, he was in. He gave up all that track position. Young Pete Shepard in the Atto Dodge trying to make his way back into the field. And on board here was Steckley.
Oh, he's trying to, you can still hear him pedaling the throttle. That car is way too loose up off the corner. Oh, he's into the corner of Lapsevich. That's Jimmy Lapsevich. He get a little tap. He's going to try and steal his position down the backstretch. Just give him a little shot, Ron. Moved him up. Stole the spot. Let's see if he can keep it.
Well, it's too bad for Jimmy there. He started 17th, gained a bunch, and now lost a bunch of spots as Steckley will zip on by. 70-some-odd starts here for Steckley. Still no victories. Problems right in front of him. It's Brian Cathcart.
Well, Cathcart gets turned around right in the middle of turn 1 and 2. He's sitting in the middle of the groove. Doesn't look like a lot of damage, Ron, so he'll be able to get going here.
Yeah, let's hope so. He was involved in a pretty good battle there with number 23, Jeff Lapsevich, and the 84 of young J.R. Fitzpatrick. He had a little bit of front-end damage by the looks of things. But Cathcart is rolling, as you say, no problems. Todd Lewis in the J.R. pit.
J.R. Fitzpatrick making a stop along pit road. They have some tape ready to appease the body damage, but also believe there are radiator problems. The car's getting a little hot. They're trying to cool it off and see if they can get away without having to make a swap.
Well, it is a beautiful night here in Montreal, but hot. And there's the 71 of Cathcart. Jim Lapsevich, car number 25, coming in, and there they work on his car as well, right side tires.
Well, Ronnie, the jack fell down there. That's going to slow this stop down. This car needed some tires and maybe a little chassis adjustment. He's been struggling here tonight at St-Eustache.
Well, they're getting her done. They want to get him out there on the lead lap to stay in contention, down and away. Meantime, we're ready to stack him up here with the green flag again. The 37, Tara McLeod in the Central Merchant Services, down to the bottom as a lap car. Same as CASCAR now. And there's your leader on the outside, David Whitlock, ready to take green here at St-Eustache.
It'll be exciting this time. See the oil dry on the inside, Ronnie, from all that fluid laid down. We're going to hustle into turn 3, too wide with a whole bunch of oil dry on the bottom. This could get exciting. Whitlock clears the lap traffic first, hotly pursued by Mix, and there's Don Thompson Jr. He's hustling. See, Mixie gives him a little shot. Whitlock was a little tentative knowing the oil dry was there. Mixie gives him a little rough housing there to make sure he knows he's there.
Saw the black flag come off the starter stand as well. That's for Brian Cathcart, the 71 machine, so it's a stop and go penalty for him. A pit lane violation, we're told by our reporters. So he'll check in. Boy, that was a good restart. Mixie there, like you say, rough toast him there. Ron Beauchamp Jr. looks to the inside of a wobbly 88 there of Dave Jacobs. That car may be a little loose going into the corner.
Well, hot tires and oil dry just don't mix. You get a little debris in the tires. Takes a few laps to get them all scruffed back off. DJ, he slides high off of turn 4. Jacobs takes a spot. He's going to bring Beauchamp with him.
Yeah, this is a battle here in the number 5 spot now. And let's see, Beauchamp right in there.
Well, he muscled up in front. We got a pair 3 dodges in a row. And then we got the ladder cranes. John Fitzpatrick, after a big crash early on, drives over the top of the 50 of Pete Shepard Jr., and that car is still a bullet.
Yeah, he's up into 7th. There's his teammate, Don Thompson Jr. in 3rd. Look at these 3 cars, so right here. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, working off a 2 and down the short chute here at St-Eustache. Up into turn 3. Mixie, that car looks like it's really dialed in on the bottom side. There's the ladder crane Chevrolet you're talking about, going by the 9 of Mark Dilley.
Well, you can see the nose all tore up on that race car, but it has not affected the handle one iota. That car is going to the front in a big hurry. We're under caution again at St-Eustache.
John Fitzpatrick, it's debris right there in the front straightaway. John Fitzpatrick moved up to 7th on that move. The rear bumper on the track will bring out yet another caution flag here at St-Eustache. Whitlock out front. Back at St-Eustache, Ron St. Clair alongside Billy Rose Jr. in the booth, and Todd Lewis trackside for round 2 on the CASCAR Super Series, and just past the halfway point here in the Whelen 200.
Dave Whitlock continues to lead. Oh, we got one around backwards. It's Stu Robinson Jr. Jimmy Lapsevich just pile drives him around into the corner in turn 2. No caution. Robinson back underway.
Yeah, he gets it going again, and so we'll stay green up front. Dodge, Ford, and Chevrolet still battling it out here. David Whitlock took over the lead back on lap number 22, our 3rd race leader. Gibbons started. Thompson up front there for a while, but now Whitlock since lap 22.
It's been a great race so far, Ronnie. Whitlock's really commanded a good lead. I think Mixie's quicker. Thompson's just sitting there watching the show, and Dave Jacobs in that 88 car just sitting kitty by the door waiting for something to happen.
Well, I sure like his run here today. He qualified 6th, and he's hanging around in the top 5, running 4th right now. Hey, wasn't he one of the last guys to switch over from the open face mask?
Well, this is Dave's 2nd race with a full face helmet. You can tell when guys mature a little bit, they like to go with a safer bucket.
Jim Lapsevich on pit road, serving a stop and go. Whoa, the crew member out trying to rip that right fender off. Couldn't get the job done. He might have to come back in again.
Yeah, that could be a bad break. Close to going a lap down here for the stop and go penalty. If that debris falls off or CASCAR deems it dangerous, he'll have to come to pit road again.
Say just back to Dave Jacobs for a moment, finally wearing that full face helmet. I see CASCAR has mandated the Hans device by race number 4. Good news there. John Ryan Fitzpatrick on pit road, and Todd Lewis is standing by with the 84 car.
Lengthy pit stop, JR. What's the problem?
We've had a pretty rough night so far. There's guys out there just doing stupid moves on their behalf, and I can't believe they're called veterans, but looks like we punched a rad after Jeff got into Brian there and spun him out, but we'll see what we can do. We're having a good year, but not tonight.
Tough break for the Cambridge Rigging Chevrolet.
Thanks, Todd. Another tough break here. Mark Miller has spun his number 8 machine around, and out comes the caution flag here at St-Eustache. This is going to tighten up the field considerably again. There's the 8 car looping it around here on the front straight.
Well, that's a good look at Mark Miller. Associate sponsor is Maytag, and he got put in the spin cycle coming off of turn 4.
All right, pit stop action. Dodge Viper pace vehicle out to gather up the field, and we're under caution here at St-Eustache. Back with more in a moment. Getting set for green flag action here in the CASCAR Super Series. Our 5th restart of the evening in the Whelen 200 here at St-Eustache. Still David Whitlock in the Dodge, Kerry Mix in the Ford in the 02, and Don Thompson Jr. in the Chevrolet number 4.
Whitlock having trouble clearing Kenny Forth on the inside there. Forth on fresh tires, opens the door. Here comes Mixed in the bottom. A lap car going to play a big part in this race here. Whitlock loose off the corner. He's got him pinned behind the lap car. If Whitlock can keep it in there, he'll pinch him behind. Up off a turn. This is great racing, Ronnie.
Well, Mix with a lap lead, and now out front. Here's the battle for a second as Don Thompson Jr. works the bottom side of David Whitlock. All of this in behind the lap car, Kenny Forth out of Linden. Midnight Sun Parkinson Tours 820 Champs sponsored machine, and a car that used to be prepared by Whitlock, no less.
Well, Whit won't be too happy about this. A lap car moves him up out of that preferred groove, opens the door. 2 guys drive through on the bottom. Dave Jacobs, he wants a piece of the act. Mix can still not clear the car of 4th. This is going to get exciting.
Oh, and Rob Beauchamp Jr., the points leader here early this season, though, has climbed right up there. He's sitting back in 5th. He's waiting Kitty by the door for his opportunity.
Well, he's looking real tall. That's a new car this year, and it's working really well for him here tonight at St-Eustache. Mix finally to the bottom, gets past the lap car. Thompson's going to come through. Here comes Whitlock. He might give him a little shot in the way through stays clear.
All right. So Ford up front now, and so far in this race, it's been Pete Gibbons, Don Thompson Jr., David Whitlock, and now the 02 of Kerry Mix up on point position as the 88 of Jacobs gets a little sideways off of 4, gathered to back up into single file.
And another lap car, lap switch comes off the pit road, pinches Mixie down the backstretch. That's not a good move by any means. Gotta give that leader more respect than that. Lap switch down. There's the black flag. CASCAR is not too happy with that move either.
No, talk about respect. A little lack of it right there, perhaps. So black flag coming out. And now we've got chaos.
We got them all stacked up.
Problems in turn 2. The 37 of Terry McLeod right in the middle of it. So is the 8 machine again of Mark Miller. 22, Scott Steckley. The 50 Atto Dodge of Pete Shepard. And the 42 of Sean Stafford, all hooked up in this melee. Meantime, the Power Water top 5 has the Power Water Taurus of Kerry Mix out front here under caution. Followed closely by Don Thompson Jr. and David Whitlock. Sashayed back to 3rd spot. Back at St-Eustache in the Whelen 200, the Power Water Taurus of Kerry Mix back out front here on the restart on lap 131. Boy, a lot better race here after the oil pump problem he had at Delaware. A 24th place finish in the first race, Billy.
Well, it just separates the men from the boys. Mixie went home, did his homework, obviously prepared a really good car as he leads here in St-Eustache, Quebec.
Yeah, hard to believe. 173rd race for that guy, 02 Kerry Mix. And of the 173, 106 of them have been top 10. Pretty amazing.
Well, the Iron Man who lost that title to the Iron Kid, DJ Kennington, obviously does a good job. Stu Robinson Jr. on the outside of Peter Gibbons going into turn 3. They were 3 wide for a minute. That's John Fitzpatrick on the inside. They're racing hard
for 11th. And keeping in mind the number 1 team, the Canadian Tire Chevrolet, made that pit stop. They lost a bunch of spots, but they're working their way back up to the front again. Front 3 in single file down across the line. Dave Jacobs back there in 4th in that 88 Taurus. Still in the hunt here as he tries to grab a podium. Here's another battle for spot. This is for 5th. Ron Beauchamp Jr. on the outside. DJ Kennington in the Castro Dodge. And here comes Mark Dilley starting to flex his muscle a little bit.
And he did. He gave Ronnie Beauchamp a little bit of a tire rub up off the corner, just trying to move him out enough to steal the spot at the bottom. There's another rub. That's just racing, Ronnie. Overcooked it into the corner, hard on the brakes, slid up, give him a little shot. I'm sure the favor will return sometime this season.
Yeah, no doubt. Ron Beauchamp, though, being a little hockey guy, would like to see Dilley get 2 for elbowing right there, I'm sure. It's not going to happen, though. Up front, still Kerry Mix, pestered by Don Thompson Jr., the all-time pole guy there. 23 career poles for Don Thompson. Whitlock hanging in there as well. Boy, we've got a great battle here. This is going to come right down to the end of the Whelen 200.
Well, you see Whitlock wiggling off the corner there. He's charging right now. He's using that right rear tire up a little more than he should. Donnie Thompson, he's probably going to save that car and have fresh tires at the end to take a shot at Whitlock and Mixie for the win. There's Beauchamp Jr. down to the bottom, taking that spot back from the Dodge 9 of Mark Dilley.
Yeah, those two duke it out. Dave Jacobs sitting in fourth, having a great run. He finished fourth here in 2001 as well. Wonder if Don Thompson has anything for the race leader. Let's go trackside, checking with Todd.
Don Thompson Jr. hunting down Kerry Mix as we get to the late stages of this 200-lapper here at St-Eustache. And Don Thompson Jr. has a little something left for Kerry Mix. Spoke with Sandy Hamilton a couple of minutes ago and he said they've been trying not to run too hard and hoping to have a little bit left to really fight Kerry in the closing stages.
Well, a couple of veterans, actually 3 of them up there. I mean, none of them are showing their cards right now.
Well, Ronnie, we called it right. We said that Whitlock was charging and Donnie was just kind of floating along there. That just confirms it. Sandy Hamilton said they're saving the tires for the late charge.
Hey, good battle inside the top 10 as Doug Brown moves up a bunch here today in the Napa Auto Pro Chevrolet. 19 machine of Brad Graham with a Glencoe, the Challenger Motor Freight Logos Dodge Charger. And he's moving steadily towards the front. Pete Gibbons on his rear deck, and then John Fitzpatrick in the 14.
Well, it's just amazing that number 14, after the ride it took earlier, still has all the tie rods and tires still on that race car after pounding the 50 down the front stretch.
31 to go, and it's still the Taurus of Kerry Mix out front here as we wind down here in the Whelen 200. And it's basically an old-fashioned Saturday night shootout now. 31 to go. Here's the battle for fourth. Dave Jacobs, DJ Kennington. He wants to get by there in that 17 Castro Dodge.
Things are heating up there as DJ gives the barbecue man a little bumper in turn 1.
Cleaning the grill right there. All right, he is the answer to our trivia question. Which active CASCAR driver has the most starts without a win? Dave Jacobs, making his 99th here. Still looking for that first win. His 100th start will be our next show, the Moseport Road Course.
Oh, Whitlock's showing some bumper damage there in the front of that 39 Dodge as well. He must have been leaning on somebody coming through traffic.
Kerry Mix trying to hang on here today. He's looking for win number 15 in his career. Out front, no traffic in front of him, so some clean air here in the late stages of the Whelen 200.
Oh, we listen to Kerry Mix down the backstretch. Seems pretty smooth in there, Ron. Not a lot of movement on the wheel. The throttle was nice and gentle coming down. Oh, some more fiberglass being traded here. DJ getting really racy in the late going here.
Well, he has to. Ron Beauchamp Jr. right there. Now he gets to the inside and he'll get the spot. And here comes Beauchamp through, and who shot out to the outside?
I think that was Mark Dilley. Overcooked the corner. Must have thought there was going to be some action on the bottom going into turn 1. Headed for the top. Nothing happened. He lost ground.
Yeah, he almost got up into that sand trap right there at the end of turn 1 and 2 as well. Now a lap car in front of the leaders here. And look at this. Whitlock will take advantage. He gets by Thompson. And then a nice move to the outside of the 18 car, Chad McGlynn.
Oh, Whitlock muscled his way down the bottom coming off a 2. Thompson was being patient, waiting on the lap car, hoping he'd get a spot from Mix, only to lose a spot to Whitlock. Now they're going to go at it hard. Thompson all over the back bumper, Whitlock down the back stretch.
That is some close quarter racing action right there here in CASCAR. Don Thompson Jr. back to third. Little burp on the throttle there. Another lap car. That's the 37 of Tara McLeod, not a factor. Now here comes Thompson to the bottom side of Whitlock.
Whitlock opens the door in the bottom, thinks he's got the lap car there to help him. Side by side to the corner, he pinches Thompson in behind the lap car. Oh, he slides up into the marbles, gets around all by himself.
And there's debris on the racetrack as well, so a caution flag is out. Whitlock refires the Dodge, but he will lose a bunch of spots, and I'm sure he's not a happy camper.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was just good hard racing. He had the lap car on the inside, was giving it lots of room, got up out of the marbles. Here, let's take a look at the Mopar replay. You can see it. He clears Thompson, clears the lap car, gets around too hot, backwards.
And so after leading 95 laps, the 39 machine is in, Todd.
Dave Whitlock after the spin, making a stop along pit road. At this point in the race, you're only allowed 1 tire during the caution. They'll replace the right rear rubber and send the Avenue NMT Dodge back into the battle.
A 13-lap shootout when we return to St-Eustache. Ron St. Clair along with Billy Rose Jr., Todd Lewis, and in your words, Billy, we're down to the short strokes here at St-Eustache.
Mixie gets a great restart up off the corner, clears all the lap traffic, all 3 guys into turn 1 clean. This is going to be a dynamite shootout. Down the backstretch, it's Ford, Chevrolet, and a pair of Dodges.
B.J. Kennington up into that number 3 spot in the Castro Dodge. Ron Beauchamp Jr. now +5 of the night as we look here with the race leader, Kerry Mix. But Beauchamp running 4th now in that big Mopar sponsor number 60 machine. And And then Dave Jacobs, the Ford, running 5th. Mark Dilley up to 6th. Front 3 up into turn number 3, nose to tail. This is tight racing.
Single file off of turn 4. The top 3 are breaking away by a couple car lengths. Back to Beauchamp, Jacobs, and Dilley.
8 laps to go. 14 remain on the lead lap from the starting field of 25. Kerry Mix, who started this race in 5th. Oh, we got problems. Jeff Lapsevich has spun here, and a caution comes out with 8 to go.
Well, this will tighten things up. Caution down the front stretch. The restart inside 10 laps to go. Should get exciting, Ronnie.
All right, let's have a look here at the Mopar replay. All starts up in turn number 4. Chad McGlynn, David Whitlock, and there's Jeff Lab. Oh, boy. Jeff gets punted right there up into that gravel trap we spoke about. Ready to go back to green. Let's check in with Todd.
Razor, only a couple laps to go. Can your driver hold on for your first victory as a crew chief?
I think we got a pretty good car underneath us there. Kerry's drove a pretty good race. I don't know. We got a couple of experienced guys behind us, a couple of hungry guys. I think we got them, though.
Well, you know, this Razor moved over from the Whitlock camp with Mixed Motorsports to be a crew chief, looking for his first victory here tonight in St-Eustache, Quebec.
5 to go. They must be green here at St-Eustache as Kerry Mix leads the Chevrolet of Don Thompson Jr. P.J. Kennington, who has enjoyed success here at St-Eustache, kitty by the door now as he looks to the outside of the home hardware Chevrolet. Running back there in 4th spot, Ron Beauchamp Jr. If anything should happen up front, he could be the beneficiary of a podium position.
Well, Thompson under pressure from D.J. Kennington. Boy, the top 3 have got 2-3 car lengths back to Beauchamp. Could be decided by those 3 guys here tonight.
3 to go. Mix, Thompson, and Kennington. But now a problem. Here comes David Whitlock back off of pit road after a little stop and go in there. And look out. He runs the 4 car up to the racetrack.
Oh, CASCAR won't be impressed about that. Whitlock must think Thompson had something to do with him spinning early on, but we clearly see in the replay Thompson had nothing to do with it. Whitlock spun all by himself.
Well, it cost Donnie a couple of spots right there. Boy, that's a tough break for him. He'll be off the podium if the race were to finish right now. We're coming right down here to the final lap of this one. 1 to go here for Kerry Mix and the Power Water Ford Taurus.
All Kerry Mix now down the backstretch, clean and straight down the backstretch. He gets himself 2 car lengths back to DJ Kennington. 1 more corner to go, turn 3, up off of turn 4. Kerry Mix to the strike.
DJ Kennington will bring it home for another podium finish, and Ron Beauchamp Jr. after a win at Delaware finishes 3rd. Don Thompson Jr. will bring it home for 4th, and a happy Power Water crew here at St-Eustache in Montreal. We're back to talk to the winner of the Whelen 200 after this. Winner Kerry Mix lights up the tires here at St-Eustache, Montreal. 25 late models took the initial green under the lights. It was Pete Gibbons, Don Thompson Jr., and David Whitlock all taking their turn up front. The racing took its toll as each racer raced hard for every available inch. Some took charge, while others fell victim to the fierceness that is St-Eustache. In the end, the 0-2 of Kerry Mix patiently maneuvered his way to the lead, while Thompson and Whitlock created a new chapter within an old racing rivalry. And with his 15th win, Kerry Mix and his Power Water Ford team finish on top here at St-Eustache. CASCAR's version of the Intimidator, Kerry Mix, does it here in the Whelen 200, and he's with Todd Lewis.
A big smile on the face of Kerry Mix as he climbs out of the 0-2 Power Water Taurus. High fives from Razor. His first victory as a crew chief. He'll take a drink of that cold Power Water. And Kerry Mix, what a battle. You got out front, moved up front, and had some real challenges from behind.
Yeah, it was a good race. You know, it's been a while since, you know, we've been in victory lane here at St-Eustache, and it looks real good on us. This Power Water Ford. You know, we had a bad weekend last weekend, but we had a fast car then, too. I think we're going to have a good year.
Kerry Mix, big smile on his face, celebrating victory here at the Whelen 200.
Let's take a look at the top 10 now here in this, the second race of the season. Mix, of course, with the win. Kennington, Beauchamp. Thompson had to settle for 4th. Jacobs 5th. Dilley Doug Brown, great finish here for 7th. John Fitzpatrick, Brad Graham moves up into the 9th spot, and Pete Gibbons rounds out the top 10. And it's another podium for DJ.
DJ Kennington, you're just kind of hanging back there and watching. What happened in front of you that got you up on the podium?
I think somebody had a little bit of a hot temper out there, but I don't know. They were racing hard all night, and I think the tempers were getting a little hot. It was a hot night out there, and like I say, it was a great run for us in the Castrol Dodge. And I got to thank Rick Williams, Castrol, everybody sticks with me. My dad gave me a great stove again in there tonight, and he works his butt off to get me out there. And if I would have kept it off the wall, maybe we would have had the pole, maybe we would have been able to stay out front all night. But we'll take second and get back on track here and get going to Mosport next.
Congratulations, great run.
Thank you.
All right, and let's have a look here at the Castrol points now as the fireworks are over here at St-Eustache, and it's Ron Beauchamp Jr. out front of the points. The defending champion running 2nd. Whitlock 3rd. Dilly. There's Kerry Mix with the win. Finishes in 5th now in points. Kerry Mix in 6th. DJ 7th.
Well, Ron Beauchamp Jr. with a 2nd podium in a row. He's in championship form this year, Ron.
And he really likes those road course races. And it's next. The Berms Are Us presents the Clarington 200 from Mosport. But this Whelen 200 here at St-Eustache has been brought to you by Mopar. Authentic performance. By Castrol Syntec, outperforms all other leading motor oils. And by Logos Auto Parts, home of the 1-year parts and labor warranty.
Well, there's the boys spraying the champagne, Ron. All good road racers heading for Mosport. These guys are happy tonight. Let's see what happens next week.
Looking forward to it for Billy Roche Jr., Todd Lewis, and the entire James Robinson production crew. I'm Ron St. Clair. See you next time around from Mosport, and good night from Montreal.